guys! Today I'll be talking about the books that I plan to read in April, so stick around. Okay, so I don't have a particular genre or type of mood read that I'm feeling for this month coming up in April. I kind of have an eclectic mix of books that I'm wanting to read. If you saw my last BookTube newbie tag video that I put out last weekend, then you'll know that I am just sort of getting back around to reading again in my adult life. And so I don't have, tons of books that I've already read recently to be able to kind of narrow down to a specific genre or type of book series or anything like that that I want to read. So I'm just kind of dabbling in a little bit of everything right now. And so the books that I have planned to read in April, I may not get through all of them. I am doing really good keeping on track for about 4 to 5 books a month right now with my busy schedule and my young kids and everything we have going on. So my plan is to get through as many of these as I can. I think I have 7 of them. And so we will go through these right now, and I'll let you know what I plan to read this month. So the first book that I plan to read in April is Bridgerton, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. And this is a historical fiction romance. And as I'm sure everyone knows, this is a Netflix series. I'm sure everyone has seen the series, and I love it so much that I wanted to give the book series a try. So this is the first book in the series, and this story is about our main character, Daphne Bridgerton, who is growing up in the Regency period in London. And the story takes place during the social season when all of the young ladies appear in front of the Queen to come out to society. If the Queen gives her approval, then that young lady becomes the sort of prized possession of all the gentlemen in the community who are trying to court and eventually propose to the women who are coming out in society that social season. And the Queen gives her approval to one young woman, and so Daphne Bridgerton is of course vying for that role. And in the process of this social season, she meets a duke who happens to be a very good friend of her brother's from when he was in college. And so begins the enemies to lovers relationship. I love this Netflix series. I was hooked from the minute that I watched it. I love how beautiful it is. It's obviously a perfect book for the springtime because it takes place during the spring. The fashion and the clothes in that show are almost a character in itself. And so I love reading about that time period and wanting to kind of see that develop in a written perspective rather than a visual TV show perspective. I also love a good story between two people who have a lot of tension between them, and that enemies to lovers trope, that is one of my favorite things to read. So I am very excited to pick this one up. The next book that I like to pick up is one in a series, and it is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. And this is a book that I have to give credit to Darling Desi because I was not aware of this being a series. I knew of the movie with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, Practical Magic, which is the second book in this series, but this is a prequel to that book. I saw on Darling Desi's channel when she said this is a really good book to read during the fall. However, I have such a long backlist TBR for the fall because that's my favorite time to read, and my favorite type of book to read are those autumnal, spooky, magical, suspenseful kind of stories. So I have a long list of books that I'm going to read in the fall. And so what I thought I would do is actually take books that I want to read from that list that maybe don't fall so much into the spooky category, and read those maybe one book a month leading up to September, October, November when I'm wanting to read those spooky books, and save those like scary, like Home Before Dark by Riley Sager is one that I want to read during spooky season because it's about a haunted house, and of course that's the perfect time to read that. And so these other books that are good for fall and autumn and potentially spooky season, I thought I would pick up maybe one a month leading up to that time so that I can kind of knock out as many as possible this year because there are just so many. So like I said, this book is a prequel to the Practical Magic book, and it takes place during the 17th century, and it's about a woman named Maria Owens, and she's living in England, and she comes to find out that she has magical abilities. And there are other themes in the book: love, loss, betrayal, and all of these things that she has to kind of go through while she's also trying to navigate being a new witch and having new powers. I have a feeling this is going to be a 5-star read for me, but we'll see, so I'm excited to pick this one up. So, the next book that I want to talk about is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. And this is a book that I once again have heard so many YouTubers talk about. It has gotten really good reviews, 5 stars from everyone, and just by the look of this cover, it just looks like a spring read to me. I could be wrong. This could take place in the fall. Who knows? I will see. But it just looks like new buds are blooming, and it's very much a springy set book. So this is a cozy mystery with a little bit of fantasy, and it's about a community of woodland creatures, which... stop right there because that is so stinking cute that the main characters are just a group of little animals that live in the woods. It's taking the murder mystery genre and adding a little bit of a cozy spin to it. So this book is about a group of woodland creatures that live in a community called Shady Hollow, and everything is great and harmonious and lovely until one day a grumpy toad ends up dead. And there's a new reporter in town. Her name is Vera Vixen, and she is a cute little fox who you can see right here on the cover. And she is going to take it upon herself to solve this mystery. And so as she starts poking around, she uncovers other mysteries and learns that other woodland creatures are also in danger. And so she is in a race against time to find the culprit before it is too late. I also love that this is a part of a series. I think there might be 3 or 4 books in this series at this point, and to know if I love these characters as much as I think I'm going to, and then knowing that I'll be able to stay in that world and continue to read about them and get invested in them, that is what I'm really excited about. So we'll see how I like this one. The next book that I want to read is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. And this author also wrote the 2022 Book of the Year, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. So I know that obviously this is a great author who writes great stories. And so going from, or looking at that book, which is a fairly hefty book and a very different sort of sci-fi fantasy story, to this, which is a more contemporary adult fiction book and much, much smaller, obviously. So I'm very excited to see what this story holds and how it might compare to Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow when I pick that one up. This is a book that when I first told my mom that I was getting back into reading again, she went to the bookstore and she bought this for me, and she is so sweet. And I cannot wait to read this because it was one of the first books on my bookshelf, and it's been sitting there now for a few months, and it's one that I really want to pick up in April. And this is a story that I have not heard many people talk about. I don't know much about this story other than it is about a man named A.J. Fikry, and he owns a bookstore, and he has fallen on really hard times recently. His wife has passed away, his bookshop is floundering, and on top of all of that, his most prized possession, which is a book of Edgar Allan Poe poems has disappeared. It was stolen. And one day there is a mysterious package that ends up on the floor of his bookshop and gives him an opportunity to sort of have a second chance to make things right and better for himself. I don't know what that package is. I don't know much about this book at all, but I am very intrigued by the plot, and I love that it takes place in a bookstore, obviously. And I just found out yesterday, I was flipping through Hulu and saw that this was made into a movie last year. So I had no idea, but obviously that makes me want to read this even more, because then I'll have an opportunity to watch the movie and compare the two and see how they kind of bring that to life on the screen. But it features one of my favorite actresses, Lucy Hale, from Pretty Little Liars, if you guys have ever watched that when it was on Freeform, and this was a few years ago. Had like 7 seasons, but it was so good, and that's also based on a book series. But she's done many things since then, but that's kind of what I know her best from. So I'm really excited to read this book so that I can then watch that movie and, of course, let my mom know how I like it. So thank you, Mom. Mwah! The next book that I cannot wait to read, because I have heard nothing but good things about this book. And I have to give a shout out to Lauren at Lauren Love Reads, because of all the people that I have heard talk about this story, she is the one that really made me feel like I had to pick it up, because I think her and I have a lot of the same tastes in stories and genres. She loves the mystery thriller genre, and that's also what kind of my top tier genre is to read as well. And so when she talked about this book, I felt like I had to get it. And because it is also a series, I knew that there would be an opportunity to continue reading about these characters. And that's one of the things that Lauren mentioned in her video about this book. And also, I think she's mentioned this in quite a few videos, which also makes me feel like it's definitely a good one to pick up. But she really connected to the characters and loved them and wanted to keep reading and being a part of their world. So I am excited to read The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This is a book about 4 elderly friends who live in a retirement community, and they love mysteries and solving murders so much that they created the Thursday Murder Club. And so they meet every week and they talk about unsolved cold cases, and they try to solve them on their own. And one day, a body turns up on their own doorstep. And so they decide to take it upon themselves to solve the murder before the same fate happens to them. So I think I'm going to absolutely love this. It sounds like it's going to be kind of quirky, kind of funny, but also very mysterious and have a good whodunit behind it. So this is one that I'm excited to pick up. Also, when you see a book like this that's on so many BookTubers 5-star list, how could you not read it? The next book that I cannot wait to read is Pride, Prejudice, and Peril by Kate Oliver. And this is yet again another book that I heard from Lauren at Lauren Love Reads, and she really kind of made me want to read this book. By the way she talked about it. And I hate that, so if any of you guys know, there is a book club that Lauren is a part of along with Caitlin and Rachel called Cozy Hollow Book Club, and this was their last pick to read as a book club, and unfortunately I missed that because I'm just now getting into this. So I hate that I missed that, but I'm going to pick it up on my own in April, and I cannot wait to read it. It is a cozy mystery, and it is Jane Austen meets reality TV. And that sounds so intriguing to me. So this story follows our main lead character, Phaedra Brighton, and she is a professor and a know-it-all for all things Jane Austen. And she finds out that a reality TV show called Who Wants to Marry Mr. Darcy is taking place and being filmed at her best friend's estate. And so she is recruited to come and be on set to be able to be the go-to knowledgeable person for all things Jane Austen, since the show is sort of centered around that idea. And once she gets there, her best friend's husband ends up dead. And her best friend is the one who is accused of killing him. And so Phaedra has to solve the mystery of who killed this man to help her best friend before it's too late. I'm just getting into the cozy mystery genre. I have not read much yet, and I know that it has like little sub genres within the cozy mystery genre as a whole, like the foodie cozy mysteries, like the Cheese Shop Mysteries by Julia Buckley, or the Hannah Swenson Baking Mysteries by Joanna Fluke. And then there's also like the, I guess I would categorize them like the hobby cozy mysteries. So you have the Seaside Knitters Mysteries by Sally Goldenbaum. And then there's one that I cannot wait to read, probably either during Summerween or in spooky season, called If Walls Could Talk by Julia Blackwell. And then there's the more modern day cozy mysteries like this one, because it has the reality TV aspect to it. So it just sounds really fun and kind of lighthearted, and it's one that I know, especially since Jane Austen is kind of like the spring queen, I can't wait to read this one, since I know it will be a great time to pick this one up going into our spring season. And then our last book that I want to read in April is Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. And this was a book that I found, again, through Lauren at Lauren Love Reads. She was talking about how she didn't really read fantasy books, and then she picked this one up on her Kindle Unlimited and just absolutely loved it and flew through it in one of her reading vlogs. So it's one that I'm really excited to pick up because I'm sort of starting to get into the fantasy genre. I just finished Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I really, really liked it. I would probably give that book 4 stars. I wish that it would have ended on a little bit more of a cliffhanger, but I know with it being, 7 or 8 books long, you know, there's going to be a lot more that happens. So I'm excited to continue that series. But back to Dawn of Onyx. So Lauren was talking about how much she loved it and how the story was just so good. And of course, it's going to be the first book in a series. And so there again, I'm excited to be able to continue to read more about that world once more books come out. But this story follows our female lead. Her name is Arwen, and it really starts out with a bang. I actually downloaded the sample on my Kindle, and I only got 3 chapters, and at the end of it I was like, how am I gonna stop reading this right now? So I have to go pick that one up on Amazon because I cannot find it in the bookstores. I think you can only get it online right now. So I'm going to pick this one up, but I will read you the synopsis, or at least a little bit of it, because I don't know much about it other than what I read in the first 3 chapters, and I don't want to give any spoilers away. So the synopsis says, captured by the King of Darkness, forced to find the light within. To make it out of enemy territory, she'll have to navigate backstabbing royals, dark magic, and dangerous beasts. But untold power lies inside Arwen, dormant and waiting for a spark. If she can harness it, she might be able to escape with her life and hopefully her heart. From the first 3 chapters that I got to read, I can tell already that this is going to be a very, very strong female lead with a lot of gumption and determination and passion. And there's also going to be some mystery to this one because the story starts out 1 year after the last time that she heard from her brother or her childhood best friend when they went off to war to fight against the King of Darkness. And so we don't know where they are. We don't know if they're okay. We don't know what lies ahead for them or for her and how their lives may intersect again in the future. And then I'm hoping that maybe there will be some possible romance in this one because of the fact that she has her childhood friend who I think she might have feelings for. And if they end up back together again, then we'll just have to see what happens there. But who doesn't love good fantasy romance? So I think I'm really going to like this one, and I'm excited to pick it up and continue on in that story. If you have made it this far in the video, then please leave me a flower emoji as we head into the spring. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe because I am new and I am loving seeing new subscribers come in because I know that you guys are interested to see what kinds of things I'll have to talk about in the future. And remember to click that notification bell so that you don't miss every time that I put up a new video. I'm going to try to put up a new video once a week, so make sure that you come back. It'll probably be on Saturdays is my plan, so make sure that you come back on Saturdays and see what kinds of good stuff I have to talk about each week. I would also love it if you would say hello in the comments, and why don't you let me know what you're most excited about reading in April. I have a list obviously, but I am always looking for new things to add to my TBR, and so please let me know what it is that you're excited about reading, especially maybe if there's a good new release coming out that you want to read. So thank you so much for being here. I'm glad I got to share my April TBR with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Have a great week. Bye!